The moment my
Hi,
girlfriend smiled across
this
the
is my friend
candlelight
Alex.
and said,
Oh,
"Don't be
hello.
jealous,
Nice to meet
he's
you.
just my work
Let's all
husband."
sit.
Something inside me went strangely quiet. Not angry, not explosive, just quiet in the kind of way that tells you a truth is about to surface whether you want it to or not. And the strange thing was, she said it like nothing unusual had happened. Like bringing another man to our Valentine's dinner was completely normal. My name is Carter Whitfield. I live in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's one of those places where people keep their lawns perfect and their personal lives carefully edited. I work in commercial real estate development, the kind of job where every conversation eventually turns into negotiations. Maybe that's why I notice small shifts in people before most others do. My girlfriend, Sloan Harrington, worked in corporate marketing for a luxury resort group in Phoenix. She was brilliant at her job, confident, sharp, the kind of person who could walk into a boardroom and leave with half the executives convinced the entire project was their idea. We had been together a little over 3 years, long enough that our friends had quietly started expecting an engagement announcement. And if I'm being honest, I had started thinking about it too. But about 4 months before that Valentine's night, something small entered our relationship. Something that seemed harmless at first. The phrase work husband. The first time Sloan said it, we were cooking dinner. She was standing at the kitchen counter cutting limes for margaritas. "Oh, by the way," she said casually, "you'll probably hear me talk about Reed a lot. He's basically my work husband." I laughed because it sounded like office humor. "Should I start worrying now?" I asked. She smiled without even looking up. "Carter, relax. It's just a joke people at work use. Reed Calloway and I run most of the marketing campaigns together. We sit next to each other. We basically solve every crisis together. So everyone calls us the office married couple." It sounded reasonable. High-pressure jobs create close partnerships. And Sloan had never given me a reason not to trust her. At least not then. Over the next few months, Reed's name started appearing more often in conversation. At first, it was small things. "Reed, save the presentation today." "Reed, and I had to stay late again." "Reed thinks the client meeting tomorrow is going to be brutal." The way she said his name wasn't romantic, but it was familiar, very familiar, like someone who existed comfortably inside her daily life. One evening, we were sitting on the couch, watching a show. Her phone buzzed on the coffee table. The screen lit up. "Reed Calloway." The message preview read, "You saved me again today." Sloan grabbed the phone quickly. Too quickly. She typed a response and placed the phone face down. I didn't say anything, because trust sometimes means ignoring the tiny alarms your instincts start whispering. Then Valentine's Day arrived. Sloan suggested dinner at the Meridian Room in Old Town Scottsdale. It's the kind of restaurant where the lights are low and the wine list looks like a legal document. Hard to get a reservation, which made the night feel important. She wore a dark emerald dress. I wore a charcoal suit. When we arrived, the host walked us toward a table near the back window. But just before we sat down, Sloan stopped. She looked toward the entrance. And then she smiled. "Oh, good," she said. "He made it." I remember the exact second my stomach tightened, because I already knew who she meant. A tall man walked toward us. Confident posture, calm face, professional smile. Sloan stepped forward and hugged him. "Carter," she said, "this is Reed, my work husband." Reed extended his hand. "Nice to finally meet you," he said. His voice was polite, measured, the kind of voice that belongs in conference rooms and negotiations. I shook his hand, and then we all sat down. If you're watching this, pause for a second and answer honestly. If your partner brought another man to your Valentine's dinner and called him her work husband, what would you do? Would you stay calm? Or would you walk out right there? Because in that moment, I chose calm. At least on the outside. Dinner started normally. The waiter brought wine. We talked about work, about Scottsdale, about the resort campaign Sloan had been working on. Reed was intelligent, friendly. He didn't interrupt me. He didn't act possessive. But something subtle was happening at the table. Sloan and Reed had their own rhythm. Little inside jokes, quick looks, references to stories I had never heard before. It wasn't inappropriate, but it made me feel like I had joined a conversation that had already been going on for months. Then the moment came. Reed said something funny about a disastrous client presentation. Sloan laughed. Then she turned to me with a playful smile. "Don't be jealous," she said. You know, Reed is just my work husband. The words landed differently that time. Not like a joke, more like a warning. Like she expected me to react badly, and was preparing the defense before the accusation even existed. Something in my chest shifted. Not anger. Something clearer than that. Perspective. Because suddenly the problem wasn't Reed. The problem was that Sloan believed this situation should feel normal. The rest of dinner continued politely, but my mind had moved somewhere else. I started listening more carefully. How often they worked late. How often they traveled. How easily they spoke for each other in conversation. And a quiet question formed in my head. Was I competing with another man? Or was I competing with the version of Sloan that existed when she was with him? After dessert, Reed excused himself to take a phone call outside. The moment the door closed, the silence at the table felt heavier. Sloan finally looked at me. Please don't make this weird, she said softly. I didn't answer immediately, because the sentence revealed something important. She already believed the tension was my responsibility. Sloan, I said calmly, why is he here tonight? She paused, just for a second, but long enough. I wanted you both to know each other, she said. He's important to my life. The answer wasn't dishonest, but it wasn't complete either. Reed returned. Dinner ended politely. Outside the restaurant, we shook hands. Reed thanked me for dinner. Sloan hugged him goodbye. Then we drove home. The drive was quiet, not hostile, just thoughtful. When we got inside the house, Sloan looked at me. You're upset, she said. I'm thinking, I replied. That answer confused her, because arguments are easier than reflection. Over the next week, we talked more than we had in months. Real conversations, not defensive ones. One night, she asked quietly, what exactly bothered you about that night? And I answered honestly. It wasn't Reed. It was realizing that he might be filling emotional space that used to belong to us. She didn't argue. She didn't get angry. She just sat there thinking. 2 weeks later, something changed. Not dramatically, but noticeably. Late-night messages stopped. Work conversations stayed professional. Travel plans shifted. Reed was still her colleague, still her partner at work. But the emotional overlap between their worlds became clearer. And the surprising part was Reed noticed it immediately. He respected it. Because sometimes the problem isn't another person. Sometimes the problem is the boundaries we forgot to define. Before we end, I want to ask you something. Do you think Carter handled that situation the right way? By staying calm and addressing it later? Or should he have confronted the entire situation right there at the restaurant? Let me know what you would have done. Because relationships rarely collapse in dramatic explosions. Most of the time, they shift quietly in moments like that dinner. Moments where someone finally sees something they can't unsee and has to decide what to do with that clarity.